How Piltdown Man Fooled the Scientific World. In 1912, British scientists were shown what appeared to be one of the most important fossils ever discovered: a human-like skull with an ape-like jaw, buried in ancient gravel in southern England. It seemed to reveal the missing chapter between apes and humans. There was only one problem: the skull and jaw had never belonged to the same creature. One came from a human, the other came from an orangutan. The teeth had been deliberately filed down, the bones had been artificially stained, and gravel had been packed into hidden spaces. It was a carefully constructed fraud, yet it survived for more than 40 years. This is EXEPEL, where we test famous stories against the evidence and ask why intelligent people sometimes believe exactly what they want to believe. The story began with Charles Dawson, an amateur antiquarian and lawyer living in Sussex, England. Dawson contacted Arthur Smith Woodward, a respected paleontologist at the British Museum, claiming that unusual skull fragments had been recovered from a gravel pit near the village of Piltdown. Dawson and Woodward searched the site and assembled several pieces: parts of a thick human-like skull, half of a lower jaw, worn teeth, animal fossils, and crude objects interpreted as tools. In December 1912, the discovery was presented to the Geological Society of London. The creature received a scientific name: Eoanthropus dawsoni, Dawson's Dawn Man. The skull appeared surprisingly modern with a relatively large brain case, but the jaw looked primitive and ape-like. This combination seemed to support an influential idea of the period: that the human brain had expanded early in evolution, before the face and jaw became fully human. Piltdown Man did not merely fill a gap in the fossil record. It appeared to confirm an existing expectation. That was its greatest strength. At the beginning of the 20th century, Britain had produced famous scientists, powerful museums, and an enormous empire. But it lacked a celebrated ancient human fossil comparable to discoveries made elsewhere in Europe. Piltdown offered Britain its own extremely ancient ancestor. Newspapers embraced the earliest Englishmen. National pride and scientific expectation began reinforcing each other. The discovery looked important because respected experts supported it, and some experts supported it because it appeared to fit what they already believed. But not everyone was convinced. Some anatomists noticed that the skull looked human, while the jaw looked like it came from an ape. As early as 1913, anatomist David Waterston argued that the two did not belong together. Other researchers later reached similar conclusions. The fraud was not accepted without opposition. Piltdown remained controversial. So why did it survive? The fossils were fragmentary. Crucial connecting parts were conveniently missing, allowing different reconstructions. Many researchers studied casts rather than the original bones, making the artificial modifications harder to detect. Reliable dating techniques were still limited, so scientists depended heavily on anatomical comparisons and the authority of experts. Then came another psychological trap: confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is our tendency to notice evidence that supports an existing belief while explaining away evidence that challenges it. Real human fossils discovered in Africa and Asia increasingly contradicted Piltdown. They suggested that some early human ancestors had smaller brains combined, with more human-like ways of walking and different facial features. Piltdown suggested almost the reverse: a modern-looking brain attached to a primitive jaw. Instead of immediately rejecting Piltdown, some researchers treated it as a separate evolutionary branch. The strange fossil was protected from contradiction by adding another explanation. But evidence continued accumulating. In 1924, the tongue child was discovered in South Africa. Its small brain and other anatomical features provided a very different picture of human evolution. Additional discoveries made Piltdown look increasingly isolated. The fossil that had once seemed to complete the story was becoming the one piece that did not fit. The decisive change came from improved scientific testing. In 1949, Natural History Museum geologist Kenneth Oakley used fluorine analysis on the remains. Bones buried in the same soil for similar lengths of time generally absorb fluorine from groundwater. The results showed that the Piltdown material was far younger than originally claimed. That did not yet reveal the entire fraud, but the supposed ancient ancestor was already collapsing. Oakley then worked with Oxford scientists Joseph Weiner and Wilfrid LeGros Clark. Their investigation examined the bones and teeth more closely. Under magnification, scratches appeared on the teeth. They had been filed down to imitate human wear. The jaw belonged to an ape, probably an orangutan, while the skull fragments came from modern humans. The bones had been chemically stained to resemble ancient fossils from the same deposit. In 1953, the conclusion became unavoidable. Piltdown Man had never existed. The celebrated missing link was a manufactured combination of unrelated remains. For decades, suspicion fell on several people, including Woodward, Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, and even Sherlock Holmes creator Arthur Conan Doyle. But later, evidence pointed most strongly toward Charles Dawson. A major investigation published in 2016 used DNA analysis, spectroscopy, three-dimensional imaging, and detailed measurements. Teeth associated with two supposed Piltdown locations were traced to the same orangutan. The specimens had been prepared using consistent methods, including similar staining, gravel fillings, and putty. The evidence suggested one principal forger, and Dawson was the only person closely associated with all the key discoveries. Researchers therefore consider him the most likely creator of the fraud, although some historical details can no longer be proven with absolute certainty. Piltdown is often presented as evidence that science cannot be trusted, but its real lesson is more complicated. Scientists did expose the fraud. New discoveries challenged the old interpretation. Better technology tested claims that expert opinion could not settle. The correction took far too long, but the scientific process eventually destroyed one of its own most famous mistakes. The deeper warning concerns human psychology. Intelligence does not remove bias. Expertise does not eliminate ambition. A respected institution can still become attached to an attractive conclusion. When evidence flatters national pride, confirms a popular theory, and rewards the people defending it, skepticism becomes more difficult. Piltdown Man survived because it arrived disguised as the fossil many people hoped to find. The forgery did not defeat science by being perfect. It succeeded by understanding scientists as human beings. And that may be the most uncomfortable discovery hidden inside the fake skull. Sometimes the easiest person to deceive is not the most ignorant, but the person who has already decided what the truth should look like.